Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the 2023 Kia Sportage, or Sportage, depending on where you're from. This, well, it's a drastic change from how it basically was 15 years ago. I still remember the commercial screaming, "Aye!"
Turn that frown upside down. You got to cheer up a little bit.
But that was such a long time ago. Many things have changed on this vehicle and it's gotten so much better. So in this video, let me tell you all about it, everything that you need to know, including how car seats fit. But first, let's talk about styling. You're not gonna find any vehicle on the road that looks similar to this. Not even any other Kias. It's super distinctive here with these daytime running lamps, the headlamps. I mean, it's very different. Some may like it, some may not. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Sportage in the comment section down below. On the side here, this is the SX trim, which is the top hybrid trim. Other versions of the Sportage will look a little different, but we got 18-inch wheels, which in today's kind of market looks a little bit undersized, but it's a good overall shape. You do have proximity door locks on the front doors, so you can lock them here, but unfortunately, you do not get them on the rear doors. Definitely a missed opportunity there. But I do like this kind of blacked out window surround. It looks really nice. And then around back, we got the integrated spoiler, which does have the rear wiper integrated, and that's actually really cool. Just, it's a sleeker in the back because of that. LED tail lamps, and with basically all Kia products that have an automated trunk, you can step back here and it'll automatically open as long as you got the key in your pocket. No need to kick underneath the rear bumper and lose your balance and all that. In here, 39.6 cubic feet of space. I would say that's more than sufficient for most families' needs. On the bottom here, I can move this cover lower tier so that I get a bigger storage space, but then wouldn't be flat when I fold the rear seats down. If I was to fold the rear seats down, there are these handles on the side, which just makes it easier. There's no need to go around to the side and lower those seats down from the back seats there. It just makes things nice and easy. But let's check out those seats. The back seats. Back here, I'm 5'11" and I got plenty of space. Even with this panoramic sunroof, I don't even touch that headliner. Super spacious, legroom is good as well. Yeah, it just feels like a, well, not a limo, but it's big back here. Materials, well, they are a little bit tough. Scratchy plastics on the side as well as on the seat backs. Makes it kind of not the greatest, but definitely not bad because I do have heated seats, and the seats, I can tilt them back if I want for that extra comfort. And of course, I got a center armrest. So not too bad. I got USB ports as well as this little hanger for groceries, purse, what have you. Sure, it's not the most upscale, but I don't think it really matters. It has everything that I really need back here. And in terms of space, well, fitting 2 child seats in here was a breeze. On the driver's side here, I have a collect lane. That's an infant seat, and as you can see, very easy to get that in and out of the cabin. The doors themselves don't open a full 90 degrees like the Nissan Rogue, but it's good enough for most use cases. On the passenger side here, here's a collect 5, which is a rear-facing convertible seat. It is a little bit bulkier, but even with that, I didn't really have to move the front seat forward, so there's still plenty of space for the front occupant. While there are 2 sets of lower anchors on this vehicle and 3 upper anchors, which you can certainly use, I found that if you were to put a car seat either in the center or on the passenger side, because of where the seatbelt position is, it's actually over the buckle of the passenger side. And because of that, there's that overlap, which means that if you have a child seat either in the middle or on the side, chances is you can't put someone, well, in the other position. So if there's a child seat on the passenger side, you probably can't have anyone in the middle and vice versa. But let's move up to the front. All right, the front seats. There is a welcome sound that you can turn off if you don't like it. But I do like these seats. This terracotta kind of color, it's actually kind of nice. It's very different than the usual black or beige and actually adds some pizzazz to this interior. The seats themselves are heated and cooled actually, and they have really good support. So in here, I'm very comfortable. The headrests might be a little bit weird looking because of this kind of portion on the back, but you can hang like a jacket, a hat, or what have you on the rear, which is actually kind of nice. In front of me, A pretty typical Kia steering wheel. You have all the buttons that you need, including paddle shifters behind it. Looks good, works well. Same thing with that digital cluster. Very, very nice digital cluster. There are a few different view options that you can have depending on drive modes, or you can change it within the infotainment system. I really like this dynamic look. It just, well, it's more plain, but it just looks, well, more pleasing to my eyes. And I do like that overall. Like many Hyundai, Kia, as well as Genesis products, the cluster, when you signal left or right, well, you can have a view back. It enables the camera, the 360 camera that's underneath the mirror, so it actually looks at your blind spot. It's actually a really good feature. I personally really like it, and I use it constantly. It's better than like just a beep. You don't really know what's going on when a beep comes. Having a visual is always good. The only thing is I don't have a heads-up display. It's the same thing with the Tucson. So, well, if I was to look at my speed, I do have to look down, which honestly isn't too bad. In terms of the infotainment, this is the same thing as basically most Kia products these days. It's a lovely system, widescreen, works well. You do have Android Auto as well as Apple CarPlay, but you do have to plug it in to the USB port on the bottom. You do have a wireless charger there, but unfortunately with the system, you just don't have the wireless connectivity. What you do have is a very good view of the hybrid system, so you can see exactly where the power is coming from. The only kind of thing I would say about it is because the theme is this purple look, I don't have a problem with purple. I actually like the color, but it's just, well, it's hard to distinguish just by a quick glance what icons maybe where. And in addition to that, because of this kind of sleek panel on the bottom here, which changes from climate control to your multimedia control, well, you don't have those dedicated buttons just readily offhand. It's very similar to the Tucson. I mean, the two vehicles are actually based on the same platform, and there are very many like hard points on the vehicle that look exactly the same. I mean, they look very different, but for the engineers and the trained eyes, you'll see that they're actually very similar vehicles. But this climate control and infotainment setup, it is a little frustrating, to be very honest. I first had this experience in the Kia EV6. I didn't like it there, and I'm not a big fan of it here neither. I'm sure, over time you would get used to it, but initially it's just a little bit cumbersome. In terms of the center console though, you do have all your heated seats and cooled seats and heated steering wheel controls off to the right. And I like these cup holders. You're able to press a button to have it kind of swing out, and when you don't need them, you have this kind of larger storage shape here that's like a J, I guess? That's kind of weird, but hey, at least you get more storage. And of course, you do have what's in your center armrest as well. But like I said, this is the hybrid version of the Sportage. Let's talk a little bit about this engine before we go. Unlike other hybrid SUVs, this Sportage uses a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired with electrical motors to power the vehicle. The engine itself makes 177 horsepower and 195 pound-feet. The electrical components, well, you're looking at 59 horsepower and 195 pound-feet. Together, that's 227 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. If you step up to the plug-in hybrid, you get more power at 261 combined horsepower thanks to a more powerful electrical motor. Out on the road with the brand new Sportage hybrid electric vehicle. This isn't the plug-in, so it doesn't have the 260 odd horsepower. But even at 227, if I recall correctly, my memory's been really bad. It's still pretty quick, because if I floor it, not bad. And it actually sounds pretty good, because that 1.6 turbo, well, that's the same one as like in the Veloster and other kind of more performance-y vehicles that they have. It's not the 2-liter turbo. I wish it was that. But, in terms of efficiency, this is actually not bad. I think it's like 6-point-something liters for 100 kilometers. I'm averaging a little higher than that, 6.5 overall. But that's a good average. A lot of times, real world fuel economy, you never hit those numbers. 6.5 is pretty good. And this, unlike other hybrids, has a 6-speed automatic, which means it's a little bit more responsive. And there are paddles on the back where you can actually change gears. You probably don't ever use them or won't ever use them really, but they're there. It's, if you decide that, hey, I want to carve the canyon mountains in my Sportage hybrid, still sounds weird, but you can and control the gear shifts yourself. You probably won't though. It's not the vehicle for it, because this vehicle is actually really, really soft. The suspension, it's a whole lot softer than you might think. Generally speaking, the Hyundai products, those are the ones that are supple, they're soft. Kia is the one that's supposed to be more firm, more sporty. But over these bumps, it takes a full bounce after to settle the vehicle. It's crazy just how soft this is. But I get why. As a family SUV that this is, you're not really looking for a sportier driving experience. There's really no need for firmer suspension. So this softer setup actually works really well. My son loved it. I mean, my son loves all the cars. That's, just how he is. He's 2 o'clock, or not 2 o'clock. He's 2 years old. 2 o'clock. Oh gosh, it's almost 2 o'clock. But he's 2 years old. So, to him, everything is just great. But, in terms of the ride, it's absolutely fine. You're not expecting that sportier experience out of this anyway. So I'll leave it at that. What I do really like on basically all Hyundai and Kia products is, just the highway driving assist, the adaptive cruise control, the lane centering, all of the safety features, all that. It just works so well. It keeps you within your lanes, it keeps you in front of the vehicle, and it's just so well managed that it requires so little from the driver. So as I'm driving, the only thing I'm really doing is just wiggling the wheel every now and then, and that's really it. It's able to, go through the turns and whatnot. It's so effortless, making this a really, really good long distance vehicle. And that's, the gist of it. The Sportage is a really, really fine vehicle. At 43,000 Canadian dollars, it's priced well. It's actually priced a little bit lower than, a lot of others. And because of that, it's more attractive. And it has a lot of features in it to make it even more attractive, like this giant panoramic sunroof. There's really good interior space. You get heated and cooled seats up front, heated seats in the rear. That's not something that every single brand has. So, in terms of the overall package, I think Kia has it, down. The only thing I would say that's kind of a negative is there are bits and pieces of this interior that I'm just not a big fan of. The Tucson, that has the full touch buttons, and some people don't like that neither. But, I mean, overall, in time, I think you'll get used to it. And when you do, those things won't matter. The things that will matter is the ride, the handling, the efficiency overall. And in that case, the Kia as well as the Hyundai products, they definitely have something to stand for. In any case, thank you so much for enjoying the Sportage with me, and we'll catch you next week in something a little bit different. Take care.